So here I am in Spain, riding towards my dad's. He lives in Malaga. I kind of just let go of the whole idea of the God thing. I'd really tried in Portugal. I'd had a phenomenal time there, and I'd met lots of people along the way and discussed theology, finished the Gandhi book, finished the Dawkins book, and I'd come to the conclusion there wasn't a God, and no one could really convince me of that, so I kind of put it out of my mind really, and I was just coasting. So I was on my way to my dad's, and I found myself, I don't know, maybe 100 kilometres away from this place, and so halfway through this journey I'd stopped off with some people I'd met down in Portugal, as I explained in the previous clip, and so I was on my way to my dad's. Anyway, I was having to cross a mini mountain. I didn't really follow the map at that point. I just knew I had to go from there to there. I didn't really look at the contours, but I found myself riding up it about midday, 12 o'clock, and it was really hot. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and the sun was beating down, and I got tired quite quickly or whatever, and so I stopped for lunch at about 12:30ish, 1 o'clock, something like that, and made a lunch and chilled out for a bit, sat in the shade, drank some water. Anyway, when it came to getting back on the bike, I carried on riding up the hill until it sort of went round a bend, and round the bend it seemed to be up again, and it's a really long road. You could see another kilometre or two, it looked like, and so I got to the top of there thinking, oh, it can't be much more now, and then round the corner another kilometre or two, got to the end of there, round the corner another kilometre or two, and I was exhausted at this point. Halfway up that sort of stretch, I sort of gave up, and I got to that point of exasperation where it's just, you want to cry like a baby really, just like so anyway, at that point I remember jumping off the bike and started to push it. It was just like, no, help, please help. I really meant it. And about a minute later, a guy sort of came whizzing past me in a big recovery truck and pulled in and jumped out and said, here mate, you want to put your bike on here? All of this is said in Spanish, and from the previous story all of the things that are said to me are in Portuguese. I haven't tried it for a long time, to be able to understand and speak a little Spanish and Portuguese, so I can kind of understand the basics, or I could. I wouldn't like to. It would take a few weeks to adjust again, just like it does in any country, I guess. So this guy's like, hey mate, put your bike on the back, and I was just like, what? Answer. My prayers have been answered, and so I jumped in, and I was over them. I was delighted. I just said, the euphoric. Anyway, I jumped in, and he had a big smile, and I was just like, oh, thank you so much. And it was like, what's your name? And he said, Jesus, which is Jesus. And I was just like, going, and I very quickly associated in my mind, please help. And a minute later, a recovery truck, here mate, on the back, driven by Jesus himself. And I was over the moon at the symbolism there. I wanted a sign in order for me to believe, and I got one in my mind that day, at that moment. And so I sort of said, are you religious, Jesus? And he was like, yes. And I was just like, I am now. And I was over the moon. I couldn't shake the feeling. And he drove me to the top of the mountain. There was a beautiful little village. And he said I could buy. I bought some food and filled up my water bottles. And then found a little bit on the edge of this mountain with just a phenomenal view. And made camp for the night. And had a warm feeling about me, like a joyous feeling inside. It was quite hard to describe. I felt full, full of life, optimism, happiness, and at peace and understanding. Anyway, I woke up in the morning and it was still there, fully. I was now, you know, it wasn't like Jim Carrey from his movie, but I was filled with God. And then just good things started to happen in a kind of ridiculously good way. Wherever I would go, for instance, the next day, I think I needed some socks. I was without socks, or I needed to do some washing. That's what the point was. And I had sticky feet. And I remember riding along thinking, I really need some socks. And about 100 meters, there was a pair of socks, sort of clean on the floor, rolled up, kind of thing. That's an example. And but every day was filled with stuff like this. Like I really need stuff, and everything just started to happen for me. It was phenomenal. It's difficult to describe, and so I lived with it. I lived with that feeling, and it was wonderful. All the way back to England, all the way, no one burst that bubble. I did speak with my cousin when I got back, and he tried his level best to, I guess from his perspective, bring me back down to earth, you know, explaining, you know, obviously, you know, what that was. You were sort of desperate in a situation like that, and a circumstance and a coincidence came together, and you know, he didn't explain it like this, but I took it to mean, you know, I drew meaning from that situation. Human beings are very good at that. And to be honest, it's got a point. However, now it came to a point of, okay, I had to kind of decide, like, because there's no definitive proof apart from how I was feeling and how things were coming together, but those things might have come together. I might have just shifted into a very positive way of thinking and basically found my own situations or created my own situations with my frame of mind. That could be argued. The more I find out about the fabric of the universe, for want of a better expression, the more it sort of opens my mind to thinking about how we are all interrelated and connected. At that time, though, I had to make a decision, and I did make a decision. I was faced with two choices. This beautiful, magical world, full of hope and chance and connect and being guided and living at one with such a beautiful, positive force, or a sort of sterile revolving ball of rock just aimlessly floating through space, and it's just phenomenal that I'm conscious enough to be aware of it, and I'm a human being with a lifespan, and I live and I die. I had a choice between the magical, fantastical world or the cold and sterile one, and I thought, well, it doesn't really matter, but I prefer to live in the magical one any day of the week. And so I chose that. But having lived again in England for a while, and in fact the sort of the France and England I've lived in, where the circles I've been living in, and I haven't been particularly religious or spiritual, it's very easy for that to, you know, that kind of thinking and that kind of way of life to sort of disappear in the background, and the day-to-day running of life seems to sort of block it all out, or make it murky, make that kind of thinking murky. But to be honest, it's always there, and it's been very good to talk about it like this, because it's a reminder to me to reconnect, of which I have been doing recently anyway. So that was me meeting God. I don't know whether anybody's had any similar experiences. Please let me know in the comments if you have. And if you like this little tale, then give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more little monologues like this, then please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. I hope you enjoyed this. I've enjoyed telling it. See you next time.